Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome. As I sketch a branch of lemons on this blank sheet of paper, let me tell you a little bit about me. I have been learning and making art projects ever since I was a kid, and now I want to share all that I have learned with you. On my channel here, I make tutorials for anyone who wants to get on board the art train. Given the times that we are in, it does help a lot taking some time out for oneself and exploring new hobbies. And what's best than if done with someone who's helping you along? Today, we will be going through various techniques of shading using watercolors. This is the second video in the series that I'm making for all my art beginners here. In the previous video, I was talking about using different values all the way from white to black and all shades of grey in between to achieve a 3D effect in pencil sketches. Like I promised, this video is using all that information but putting a coat of color all over it. By the way, I do post pictures of all my sketches and paintings on my Instagram page. So if you feel like you're looking for inspiration, do drop by, check those pictures out and leave me a hi and connect with me. I have left the link to my Instagram in the description box. Also, if you like this video, do make sure to like, subscribe and share it with your friends who are also looking to start drawing away. It would mean a lot to me if we are able to expand our community of art enthusiasts. Because believe me or not, once you start getting the hang of it, art can be a form of escapism. Okay, so in watercolors, there are three definite ways you can shade or contour your objects. The first one is called layering. Basically, you start with a single light wash of color and then begin to intensify the shadow with more layers once the previous layer dries down a little bit. This technique works well when you are doing an art project with just a single color. So layering your subject with different values will help build definition. As this is wet at the moment, I'll come back to this in a little while once it dries down. Now for the second method, here I am taking quite a concentrated blue on my brush and starting off with the shadows. This is called reverse contouring. Once I have the dark color placed where I want it to be, I'm going to take a clean wet brush and then blend it as I go towards the lighter side of the cone. You will see me using a lifting motion using my brush to take away any excess color from the areas where the light is hitting the cone. I always make sure to wipe my brush on a paper towel so that I'm not adding any color when I come back with the brush. Now that the first object that we painted is a little dry, I am taking a damp brush, no extra water, and dipping it into the pre-mix value of crimson red that we used in the first layer and applying this on the area that I want the shadow. If you let this be, there is going to be a harsh line differentiating the light from the darker shade, and that is something to be very cautious about when painting in watercolors. I immediately take a clean damp brush, wipe off any excess water and slowly remove this line of demarcation. Now for the third technique. Here I will be using complementary colors to my advantage and create a sense of light and shadow. I first wet the area with my brush and take a base color and give a basic wash of color to get an idea where I want the light to fall on the subject. With watercolors, you need to be cautious about the intensity of colors you are using. It's always easy to add rather than to take away. As you can see, I am going back to both the objects that we did before to darken the shadows, lighten the highlights and occasionally lifting the colors when necessary. Be it any kind of medium, pencils, watercolors, oils or acrylics, the best results always come when you layer your colors. The color wheel is basically a guide for new beginners to understand primary, secondary, tertiary and complementary colors. Purple is the complementary color of yellow, as it's on the opposite end of the color wheel. Here I am showing you the difference of using just plain black versus a combination of yellow and purple, which when used in the right intensity gives a more natural shadow than using pure black. I will be making a separate video in the beginner series to explain the color wheel in detail, but for now let's assume we know that complementary colors give us the shadows. I pre-mixed the yellow and purple on my palette and took my time to build the desired intensity. I now go in with this shade and mark my shadows. Again, make sure to remove the harsh lines before the layer dries down. I will be using the yellow and this shade intermittently until I am satisfied that I have enough definition in my painting. I'll speed up the process now so that we can quickly go back to today's watercolor demo. See you in a bit. Well, this is how the color study turned out. Now, back to the demo. For today's watercolor painting, I am using a lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, cobalt blue and crimson red. Later in the video, you will see me using yellow ochre, which I forgot to show here. A paper towel or a piece of fabric is essential to wipe away any color or water before you go in to give more details to your painting. Like always, I'll put a link to all the art supplies I have used in this video. The links are not affiliated to any website, so please feel free to use them. Here I begin with giving a very pale wash of lemon yellow. I make it a point to keep the white of the paper intact where I want the light hitting the lemons. Next, I am going for the cadmium yellow to increase the color intensity to show the decreasing amount of light reaching the rear portions of the lemon. Later on in the video, you will also see me using burnt sienna and purple to intensify the shadows. For the greens, I am using a mixture of yellow and blue. Make sure never to use the ready-made green colors available in the watercolor kits, as they give quite a flat and boring appearance to your paintings. You can either pre-mix your greens in the palette or you could do what I am doing. I applied the wash of yellow and went in with the blue later. You do need to be careful with the amount of blue because again, removing paint is harder. For the branches, I have used a light wash of cadmium yellow and then I go in with the pure burnt sienna and finally use a mix of blue with burnt sienna to give an impression of shadows on the branches. The leaves took quite a bit of time, but that is the beauty of watercolors. The more layers you are able to paint, the greater depth you can bring out from your subject. There have been paintings where I have slogged on for weeks, but it was worth all that effort. Anyway, the rest of the video is me going in for more layers into each of the elements. I hope you learned something from this video. Did I inspire you to go paint something? It doesn't have to be something elaborate or something intimidating. Start today and slowly you will get there. If you do paint something, anything, feel free to tag me on your Instagram posts. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Until then, bye!